Well, good afternoon. My name is Ali Mohareri. I'm the internship developer at ChickfilA College, and I'm also a faculty at MiraCosta College, which is in North County. We have an Oceanside campus, and we have an Encinitas campus as well. This presentation is to really give you some insight on what a college internship is like, give you some directions on how to get an intern, and then it's really also meant to be very interactive, so it's more information providing to you and me getting some information from you, so I can go back and customize either interns or potential programs to meet the needs of your businesses. So before we get started, I'd like to just go around and I gave you a little introduction about me, just find out a little bit about you and what your organization does.
My name is Costa, and I'm with Girls on the Run of San Diego, and we are a nonprofit that helps or that uses running as a tool to teach young girls life skills. And I work in registration.
Registration,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I'm Karen Oliver, and I work for Girls on the Run as well. I am our volunteer and events manager, so I do a lot of the curriculum and coach recruitment and leading.
Melody Kramer, I'm the founder of Legal Greenhouse, and we create innovative legal solutions.
Legal Greenhouse.
And I have a number of sort of initiatives in terms of research or trying out new things within the legal field that I want to find some interns.
Melody.
Melody.
I apologize if I'm misspelling your name.
No, that's fine.
D-Y?
D-Y.
D-Y? Tessa, two S's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then last but not least.
Michelle Camp, and I recently left full-time law practice and starting doing contract work for now, trying to figure it out. But I also am supervising a nonprofit called the San Diego Multicultural Resource Center. And one of the part I'm involved with is immigration related, an immigration clinic, but they are trying to start doing a number of things to help immigrants and refugees. So I think maybe to use the help of interns, I thought this would be helpful. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's a wonderful way to get started. Have any of you either used an intern before or been an intern when you went to college?
Yep. We had 2 interns this past
You
spring.
did?
Mhm.
And from what school or college?
SDSU.
From SDSU, okay. And what were they used for?
We both had an intern kind of shadow us. So Tessa's did more media,
Media?
social media
Social media.
stuff and database.
Okay.
And mine did more supply organization, inventory,
Okay.
ordering, that kind of thing.
And it was for course credit?
Yeah, they were through the women's studies major.
Yeah.
Studies major? And so they received a grade, and was it a paid or not non-paid?
And non-paid was for credit.
Not non-paid, okay. And you guys haven't had any experience with interns? Okay, so good, so there's some familiarity. Okay, so this is going to be our table of contents today. So I'm going to start off by just giving you a brief background on what a community college internship is, the different types of interns and internships that you can get through these colleges in San Diego, what are the requirements for an internship, what community colleges in San Diego are participating in internship programs, which is all of them, how to acquire an intern, and I'll kind of walk you through the process at one of the schools. At the other schools, it's very similar, okay? But because today I represent 2 of the schools, I'll show you how to get involved with one of the schools, and like I said, the procedure will be the same. And then at the end, if there's any questions that you have, we'll address those at the end, okay? So as Tessa described, an internship is exactly kind of what you described. That's the makeup of it. So this is the internship program. There's the college where the intern comes from. There's usually a faculty. Did you guys have a faculty involved?
There was the head of the department. We didn't have a lot of interaction, so he gave us a worksheet to complete.
Gave you a worksheet, okay. So every school is structured a little bit differently, but typically you'll have, for the internships that are for school credit, you'll have a faculty member involved, and there usually to be between 1 and 3 meetings during that term. So the terms are normally fall, spring, and a short-term summer, okay? And what will happen is the faculty, student, yourself will sit down, you'll create a project for that intern, okay? The student will also come up with some goals, development goals for themselves, both personally and professionally, okay? And there'll also be some kind of leadership type skills that you'll evaluate that student on, okay? Competencies, core competencies that the student, we like to call. And so that's kind of the paperwork that's involved. And then there'll be a meeting at the end to kind of capture the project, whether it was successful or not, and also for you to evaluate the students on different competencies like leadership, diversity, communication. Every college has kind of a list of competencies that they would like their students to develop through this internship. And then, there's the employer piece. So this is kind of a picture of what the internship for college credit looks like, okay? Any questions? All right, so just elaborating on it, internship is supervised on-the-job training, okay? Now, a lot of people think of an internship as bringing somebody in and to just have them do tasks, okay? Maybe get the mail, God forbid, get coffee for us. Things that are not really intended as an internship. That's more like labor. The real idea of this internship is work-based learning. So and we'll go through on the next slide on the types of internships, but let's say you bring in a social media person. The idea is that the employer, the organization, has knowledge about that concept, whether it's accounting, whether it's social media, whether it's marketing, customer service, whatever it is, and you can really teach that student to develop that skill set and that experience. The student should have also been enrolled in some of these classes. So for you to get an accounting intern or a social media intern, the expectation is that they've taken some courses and they're familiar with concepts in accounting or social media or marketing, okay? So really it becomes an integration of knowledge theory from the classroom to the real world. And you're kind of the backbone of a creation of a new workforce by training today's workers for tomorrow's jobs. They've done some research, and students that have had internships, usually once they get their 4-year degree, usually end up getting compensation 40% higher than students who didn't have an internship. So it's a really valuable entity for all parties involved. It's great for you, and it's great for the student because not only do they acquire skill sets, experience, but they also end up getting higher paid jobs, okay? So that's kind of the backbone of what a real, true internship should be like, okay? Types of internship that most of these colleges have, okay? And I try to cherry pick the ones that would really be applicable to the organizations that belong to HeraHub. Business and marketing would probably be one that I would see very applicable, for the organizations that belong to HeraHub. Business office technologies is another one. Accounting, graphic design, web development, social media, customer service, and sales. Okay. There are other programs that a lot of these, colleges have, like automotive, engineering, wastewater treatment, things like that. But most of those I didn't really see applicable to the organizations that belong to HeraHub. Do these types of internships meet what you'd have interest in?
Oh, sorry, yeah, social media is one that I've been considering, web development, graphic design.
Yeah, let me just kind of elaborate.
Yeah.
So these are all very broad definitions. So social media is just so broad. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Yelp? Are we talking about Twitter? Are we talking about Facebook? Are we talking about all of them? They're very broad, okay? Graphic design, same thing. We coming up with graphic design for your website, for your product packaging, for your products. Web development. Do you have a website ready now? Do you need one developed? So these are all pretty broad. Sales, customer service, all again very broad fields. Okay. But the ones that we really see a high demand for are the social media, web development, and graphic design. Those are the big ones. Accounting and business, also rank pretty high in what businesses are recruiting interns for. Any questions so far? Okay. So the requirements of most of these colleges is that the student has to be enrolled in 4-credit experience class. So just like students have marketing class, economics classes, accounting classes, they have to enroll in an internship course, okay? And the courses have credits. These are the units. Sorry, the presentation got bunched up a little bit here, but they can earn up to 4 units of credit depending on whether it's paid or non-paid, okay? So if it's paid, then they have to put in more hours. So for every 1 unit of course credit that they get, they have to put in a minimum of 75 hours of work, okay? If they're getting 2 credits, it's 150, 3, 225, and 4 plus it's 300 hours. If you're not paying them, which is also fine, the hours decrease. So 1 unit corresponds with 60, 2 with 120, 3 with 180, and 4 with 240. So that's kind of how it works. Now, welcome.
Thank you.
So should you pay the students, should you not pay the students? That's really up to you, Do you get a slightly better, more motivated student when it's paid? In my 3 years of doing this, I would say yeah. Because a lot of these students will also have part-time jobs and have bills to pay. So my experience with it is that, yeah, they're a little bit more motivated and inspired to do the internship work and to stay on. But we've also seen a lot of success with students that are in a non-paid internship role because they know the importance of getting the experience and the long-term value it has on their resume and compensation when they get to 4-year degree, okay? The other aspect of whether it's paid or unpaid, so if it's paid, then any liability is going to be covered by the employer, okay? Just like it would with any other employers that you have. So your workers' compensation would come from you if you're paying it. If they're not paid, then they'd be covered by the college's workers' compensation insurance, okay? And that's why it's really critical that they are enrolled for credit work experiences at the college level, because if they're not, then you can't really take advantage of the college's liability insurance, Because there are some insurance where the student just wants to do the internship. They don't want to get, they already met all their credit requirements for transferring. They don't need any more credits, but they do want an internship. In that case, you can just pay them. They don't need to do it for college work. Okay, but they would also fall under your liability insurance. And then the work experience courses, these internships are offered the fall, spring, and there's an 8-week session in the summer. Okay, so during the fall, it's about a 16-week course, the fall and spring semesters. And the semesters with the community colleges in San Diego generally start end of August, beginning of September, and go until December. In the spring, end of January, beginning of February is the start, and then we'll go into May. The summer starts beginning of June and goes to the beginning of August. It's 8 weeks, okay? I'm not sure how realistic it is today for you to be able to get somebody by beginning of June, because there's a vetting process. The colleges, have to go and recruit students. We have to get their resumes. We do a little screening along the way, make sure you're getting a good, qualified, high-performing student, and then we turn their resumes over to you. There's an interview process, there's a due diligence process on your part, and then you make the decision, and hopefully you have more than one choice, of intern. Any of you have like an immediate need where you need an intern like ASAP? Possibly.
I'd like to, I don't know that I have all my ducks in a row to do that.
Yeah.
But let me see if I understand. Let's say someone is taking a summer, this appropriate type of class, for 1 credit. Then the expectation would be that they'd be working at least 75 hours if paid or 60 if unpaid.
That's correct.
That'll be part of the plan that's done at the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay.
Yeah, so, if it's 8 weeks, right? So that's 2 months, so you're talking about 30 hours per month.
Okay.
7 hours a week is kind of what you're talking about if it's unpaid, if you do the math, and
Right.
obviously slightly more.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need, more hours, then I would say it's better to wait for the fall.
Right.
But by that time, we're not scrambling to try to get you just a candidate for the purpose of getting your candidate. We're getting you a quality candidate. We try to do our due diligence in getting you like the ideal candidate that's doing well in school. Like MiraCosta's program is one of the most robust internship programs in San Diego County. And they do a lot of due diligence. So the student actually has to come referred from a faculty before they can get into this, internship program. So there's a lot of, vetting and due diligence that goes behind the recruiting process for these internships. So Paul, I know we had graphic design, right? That was one of your choices, graphic design.
More likely social media.
Okay, social media. Just taking a poll, what areas of internship do you think your organization would have an interest with?
Business and marketing.
Business and marketing?
Social media as well.
Okay.
Web development as well.
To get your website off the ground or to?
I have one,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, making it
Okay.
together. And then including the social media, portions of that, there are certainly links.
Okay.
So my question to you when I just came in, so you might have already said this, you said that the people need to have an expertise themselves. I'm not an expert web developer. Like, does that mean that that's not really the best learning environment for an intern?
Not necessarily, but we need you to have some knowledge and experience in that area. Otherwise, it becomes labor
Yeah.
as opposed to an internship.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of this internship definition,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if you had some background, some knowledge. Not saying you're an expert, but that you're able to guide and walk that student through the internship and walk them through the like I said, you'll establish a project for them. But yeah, you should be able to lead and guide them a little bit in that area. Okay, so perhaps maybe if web development is not your forte, but social media and content is, that would be maybe a great area for you to recruit from. Okay, so we talked about that. Are most of your businesses in North County, Sorrento Valley, La Jolla, and North, or are you in other parts of San Diego?
We're the entire county.
You're in the entire county? Okay. So you have an advantage in that you can recruit students, there's 9 junior colleges in San Diego, and then there's another one, I think El Centro, also is part of San Diego. But, so you can register, let me just jump forward. These are all the different community colleges in San Diego. So you have MiraCosta, which has 2 campuses. So they're in San Elijo or Encinitas area, and then they have the Oceanside campus. You have Culiacán and Grossmont, which are in El Cajon and La Mesa. Then you have the San Diego City Colleges District, and that is comprised of 3 different colleges. So it's the Mesa College, San Diego City, and Miramar. Southwestern is down in Chula Vista, and then there's Palomar, which is up in the Escondido, San Marcos, Vista area, Palomar. So these are your choices, okay? And if we go back, typically most of these colleges, if you go on their career services page, and we're going to walk you through MiraCosta's, they will have a registration form where you can register to start the process, okay? And so this is like MiraCosta's. So this is kind of what it looks like, employer intern request form. When you go to MiraCosta.edu, if you just punch in internship, this whole area will come up and you would go under employer resources, and then you would enter your name. So if we just walk down this form, it's very, intuitive form, name of your business. Who's going to be the internship supervisor, the title of the supervisor, department, are you an alumni, and then the actual internship job. So if it's a social media intern or a marketing intern or a business intern, you would put that. You would give a brief description of what the internship roles and responsibilities are. Desired qualifications, you may require the student have taken 4 courses in that major, or at least 1 course, maybe some marketing experience. Whatever your qualifications are, you would fill that out. Application instructions, do you have like an official application? Then you would put that in there. When would be the start date? Again, pretty self-explanatory form, whether it's paid or not paid, okay? Hours per week that you would require from that student, okay? How long would this position last? And then how many internships do you have available at your organization? You would hit submit, we would get the form, and then we would go out to our campus. Each individual college would go out and basically recruit students from various disciplines to meet your needs. That's kind of how it works.
So I have a question. I have one project in mind that ideally I would like to have a couple of interns working at the same time
Right.
on sort of different aspects of it.
Right.
I have expertise on all of that,
Perfect.
but I think the synergy of kind of a few different experiences, so that's something that's
Yeah.
possible to do.
And I've seen that work really well too, where 2 students came in to work on social media and just to have different perspectives and the creativity factor when you have, more than one person, it's pretty powerful. And the idea of teamwork, diversity, you're teaching a lot for those students, because everything in the employment world is centered around teamwork. And it's either direct teamwork or indirect. If you look at all your roles, all your positions, there's some teamwork involved. And again, some of it may be direct, where 2 people are working on a project. A lot of it is indirect, I have so many indirect relationships with different teammates around MiraCosta College. The secretary, the mail person, the campus police, all these, whether I like it or not, I work with them in a team in some capacity. So you have to build relationships with these people. And that's how organizations are structured these days.
That link there, do we need that, or we can just go to the college website and
You can
find it?
you can go to each college
And just search.
and just internship, and usually they'll come up with that. So the next stage of the process is to interview the candidates. So we supply you with candidates, and then you interview them just like you would with a real job. There's also, I did one of the best internship programs that I was involved with was one at ChickfilA, which is the big fast food restaurant chain. And they really did a nice job in creating a structure around it. Okay, so the student's there for 16 weeks, so they came up with a calendar. Every week this student's going to be responsible for this, this, and this. And that structure, made the internship valuable for everybody involved. The ChickfilA got a lot out of it, the student got a lot out of it. So the more structure you can add to it, I think the more successful the internship is. Okay, because everybody kind of knows, what the expectations are for them. Like I said, most colleges will, if it's a college credit-based internship, they'll require a meeting between yourself, the student, and the faculty 2 to 3 times in the semester. At MiraCosta, the expectation is twice, once at the beginning and then once at the end. At the beginning, you'll come up with a project for the intern. The actual intern will come up with what we call SMART goals for themselves. And for every unit that they're taking, they have to come up with one SMART goal. Okay, y'all know what a SMART goal is? It's a great thing. You know? I live in
I actually know what that is. Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
So if you just come up with a goal and it's not a SMART goal, it's not a good, effective goal. You know, for you to just say, I want to lose weight or lose body fat, that's not a good goal because we don't know how much you want to lose. We don't know by what time you want to lose it by. So we don't know if it's realistic or not. So the experts created this concept called the SMART goal. This S stands for the goal being very specific. Okay? So again, I use weight because it's one that you can, you know, really demonstrate what SMART is. I want to lose 25 pounds. That's very specific. Is it measurable? Yes, 25 pounds is measurable. We can measure at the end, okay? Is there an action involved? The A stands for action. For me to lose the 25 pounds, I'm gonna have to modify my diet and I'm gonna have to exercise. So there's an action behind the goal. That's paramount. Is the goal realistic? Is 25 pounds realistic? Well, what's the time bound? The T stands for time, okay? 25 pounds in 6 months for a male, that's reasonable. I did it, I lost 40 in 6 months.
Congratulations.
It was hard work. Gave up a lot, but I did it, okay? But I used a SMART goal, you know, I measured, you know, my weight, my body fat, these things like every 2 weeks, okay? So the student comes up with these SMART goals, and then at the end, you'll meet again with everyone, then you'll evaluate the project. Did the students meet the project? And I've never been involved in an internship where the student didn't meet it. We have had interns that drop for unexpected reasons, you know, family issues, challenges, but students that have gone through internships that I've been involved with, they've always met the project of the internship. You'll evaluate them on, again, some what we call competencies. MiraCosta has 10 of them, okay? So you evaluate the student on some of those 10, not necessarily all 10 of them, but at least 5 of them if they're doing it for college credit. And these things will be, you know, communication to one another, leadership, initiative, those kinds of competencies. And then at the end, you'll assess the student, whether the student, you know, did the job satisfactorily, unsatisfactory. We have different ratings, and it's a scale of 4, 1 to 4. So that's kind of how the process is. And again, most colleges are going to be very similar to this. So what I'm describing to you is kind of an overview of all the colleges in San Diego are going to be very similar. And it sounds like your experience at San Diego State was similar to kind of what I'm describing. You didn't have the face-to-face meetings with faculty, but
No, and our interns came to us.
your interns came to you.
Mm-hmm.
So elaborate that. What do you mean the interns came to you?
So basically the Women's Studies program at San Diego State has an online and in-person board where we're listed as like an organization that they've partnered with in the past. And so then the students, when they saw that, they reached out to us with, on our website we have, hey, you want to be an intern? And they sent out their resume and their cover letter to us. And then we kind of had the discussion from there, but there wasn't a pre-weeding out process from the university. It's part of the women's study requirement for graduation.
So that,
So it's just anyone enrolled in that major has to do it.
Yeah.
So that affects the quality a little bit.
I agree. And I, you know, based on my presentation today, you've seen that some colleges are more hands-on. Like MiraCosta is very hands-on with the student. They want to make sure they bring you a high-quality, high-performing, recommended by faculty type of a student. You know, some colleges, you know, if it's part of that, like for them to get the degree at San Diego State, they have to have it.
Right.
So they put the onus on the student. You
Right.
know, you
Go
gotta go out
find
there and you
something.
gotta go find it.
Right.
Community college level, we're a little bit more hand-holding entity than the universities are, in my experience. Okay, so one of the last slides is again, seek out a college that is within proximity to your business. So if you know you're North County, most of the students live very close to the colleges that they're going to school, okay? So if your business is in Serena Valley, Del Mar, Carmel Valley, Encinitas, you probably should go to MiraCosta because again, the proximity within the student to your place of work is going to be close. You're not going to have any transportation issues. Whereas for you to go try to recruit somebody from Southwestern College in Chula Vista, you know, unless you're trying to find like one of those internships that's tough to find, then I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make much sense, and it's onerous on the student because of the gas expense and traffic. Okay. Again, go into the career website to register and put in a request. Most schools, now my role is changing, and this is all before I coordinated this meeting with you. My position at ChickfilA as the internship developer was a grant-based position, and the money was exhausted by June 30th and they didn't renew it. So my role is going to be going away, but I know for sure that MiraCosta College has a permanent position. You know, they probably have the most robust internship program in the city of San Diego, okay? So contact them and say, just to follow up, did you get my form? And I'll provide you the emails of the internship developer and coordinator at MiraCosta. And then, you know, I do advise and recommend that you do some diligence. Don't just hire, you know, the first student that comes on board. You know, have them go through the interview process. Seek out, you know, that they're showing initiative, that they're professional, that they're accountable, you know, before you accept it, because it's not a foolproof system. Like, you know, we try to vet everything out, but you just never know, you know. So treat it as a regular employee that you're hiring, you know. And then, so lastly, Nina Lovejoy, she is the internship coordinator at MiraCosta College. So MiraCosta has two campuses. It's Oceanside and San Elijo, Encinitas. MiraCosta, I mean, all these colleges have the same program. So social media, business office technologies, accounting, everything we've kind of talked about today, all these colleges are offering these programs. So your candidate is available probably in any school, you know. But Nina is the actual internship coordinator at MiraCosta College. I'm the faculty, okay? So there might be an opportunity for us to still interact with each other, and me being the what we call faculty advisor role. So going back to, I'll let you get this information. But going back to this model, you know, I could potentially recommend one of my students in my business courses. I teach Introduction to Business, I teach a customer service class, I teach marketing, and business communication is the other one. So you might have a need for a social media or marketing intern. Nina would come to me. Are there any students that you would recommend? I would say yeah, and then I would actually come involved, and I would be the faculty advisor for that student.
So I have a couple questions.
Yep.
In terms of framing, like what the scope of things are, should we look at what classes you have offered, or just put what we have in mind and on your end would be where you go through, maybe someone from this class or that class?
Both. So on the form you fill out, if that's one of your requirements, that your web developer has taken, you know, a minimum of 1 or 2 courses in web development, then put that on there. In the interview, ask them. You know, we try to guide our students on, you know, is your resume done correctly? You know, we have resume workshops, we have interviewing workshops, we have cover letter workshops. So in all these things, we try to prep the student to be prepared for these things. So if those are your requirements, then yeah, put them in the form, and then when we try to match the student, if the student hasn't taken those 2 classes, we're not going to recommend it to you. But again, also ask during the interview, what are the courses you took, and do you have examples? And most of these students are pretty bright. They have portfolios now of their graphic design, especially, you know, graphic design, web development, even social media content that they've created for companies, either maybe class project or maybe another internship that they did. So they have, you know, a portfolio they can share with you as well. What business are you with?
I'm sorry?
What business are you with?
I'm a consultant and a coach.
Consultant,
and a speaker.
okay. So we have 2 consulting companies. What's your name?
My name is Deborah.
Deborah.
Please forgive my
Oh.
tardiness.
That's all. We're an equal opportunity place here. So we had everybody kind of you know, describe what their background and what their business is. So we appreciate that. What area of internship do you potentially see a need for?
Research, social media, and marketing.
Research. Okay. So those are all kind of the hot ones that we're seeing with a lot of businesses that they have a real strong need for, or those business areas. Social media is a big part of it.
What about SEO? Are there any classes on that people would have at least some level of understanding of that and to build off of?
So search word optimization, right?
Yeah. Search engine optimization.
Yeah, depending on the major for that student. So there's now even like social media certificates and degrees that colleges are offering. So I would think, I don't have a lot of experience in that curriculum. My curriculum is more business, but I do understand that a lot of these colleges are creating programs around social media where they would have experience with search word optimization.
Do you work with companies on what type of contract the interns are having? Is it always the same type of employment contract? Or?
Yeah, it's really one of 2. It's either a paid or unpaid internship. There's nothing else in between.
Yeah, but in terms of how you hire them, because we're actually talking to a few people right now for an internship. Right now we are not having any employees, and everyone is advising me against having employees. And
Sure.
they're saying that even like an intern, you could hire them with a contract, but then I also hear the complete opposite, that you actually can't really hire interns.
So when you say contract, you're thinking about a 1099,
Yeah.
like independent? Yeah, and that's an interesting topic, because that's one of the areas where, okay, well, who has liability responsibility for that intern? Technically, the student should. 1099, they're supposed to like handle all their expenses. Like we're paying you. So that's one where I know MiraCosta is okay with that. Okay, that you can hire them as a 1099 and they can still do the internship. ChickfilA, I would say they're not okay with that. So it would have to either be paid or not paid.
And if it's non-paid, then what's the contract like? Is it different from the paid one? Because I
Yeah.
think we're fine paying people, I think I'm a little nervous about all what comes with having
Well, can I just, from a lawyer perspective here, I'm not an employment lawyer, but kind of in that area. You can't get an intern just to get free labor.
Right.
Yeah.
It has to be an exchange of that you're teaching them something and they're providing the time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where the distinction is in terms of whether you want to have employees or contract, 1099 people, where you have certain legal obligations on how you have to treat them, how you have to handle their pay and all that. Whereas intern is that exchange of knowledge for time.
And I think that's beautifully said. I think the 1099 equates to labor. more like.
Yeah, I guess
This is
me,
more
and
school. This is more
I'm
school.
somewhat new to this, to actually hiring someone, but I have no doubt that we would offer a fantastic, I mean, we are a very unusual company. We have plenty of, in terms of learning and all
Right.
that, opportunities, but it's just to hire someone for 2 months or 4 months, like 16
Right.
weeks.
Yeah, it's expensive. I
Isn't
mean,
there like an easier way to do it legally, so that we can actually focus on doing what's useful for both?
It depends whether you want to be teaching them, if that's part of that's really your goal, as opposed to just learning opportunities. You have a specific goal of you're going to be learning this, this, and this, and completing this project. Whereas the other is they're just working for you.
Yeah, but I think one is the legal part and the other one is actually what are we doing on a day-to-day.
Like, I think she's
So are
saying.
you talking about the difference between a paid internship and a non-paid internship?
No, whether
You're
to hire
talking
someone
about-
as on a, like a contract position.
Temporary,
versus-
temporary employee.
Yeah,
Right.
or an actual, yeah.
I think
This is a specific, it's like in a box, is in exchange for their college credits.
Yeah.
They're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's all very confined.
But I think I know where you're coming from. You're saying, listen, we don't want to hire people because there's a lot of paperwork in hiring. So there's an expense to hiring somebody, okay? And if I hear you correctly, you're saying we'd like to pay them, but we don't want to hire them. We'd like to pay them
Paperwork.
in a 1099 capacity. And MiraCosta's okay with that, okay?
Yeah.
Other schools aren't okay with that because of our discussion here. So it's a gray area. It's not black and white. So,
Quickest trip to legal problems.
yeah,
Well, but so
Yeah.
it's hiring someone as an employee, right?
Yeah.
There you get all kinds of issues.
You gotta-
But
Apply.
if it's
Just
a clear
get applied.
internship, then it's a clear internship, right? I mean,
Yeah.
But if you're paying them, a paid internship, you know, how do you pay them then? If
Yeah.
it's not a 1099?
it's about.
Payroll, yeah. that
Oh,
would
you'd
be
still,
on
you'd
payroll.
still pay them as, I see the distinction. You still pay them as a 1099 if it's a paid internship?
No, it's payroll, right? I mean,
No,
you
it's
hire
payroll.
someone, it's payroll.
No, it's as an employee.
As an,
Oh, yes.
yeah, it's as an employee. It's a
I
short-term
rather
employee.
me.
I get it now, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but we had that question come up, so there's a whole, consortium of individuals like myself that belong to all these colleges, and then this came up on the listserv that, hey, what about 1099s? And we got a variety of different answers. Some colleges don't care, as long as you're paying them. And I would want you to verify the liability part, because the biggest thing is going to be the liability. It's not you being able to pay them, but it's what happens if the intern gets hurt, then who's responsible? In a 1099,
Withhold tax.
I don't think you'd be responsible. Again, I'm not a legal.
Well, the other thing would be the tax, you have to take taxes out and all that, so there's,
Well, you don't do that on 1099.
Exactly.
Yeah. You
But
just kind of check and.
the distinction between 1099 and employee has to do with level of control,
Yeah.
which is a long.
Which-
None of us
yeah,
are
and
prepared
that's
to argue.
Then is there a fine
Getting an
line there?
intern.
Yeah, I say it's a gray area.
It's
All I can say, if you
significant
get to
gray
that stage, then have the discussion, with your internship coordinators, Nina Lovejoy, if you're doing MiraCosta, and just, get their blessing before you move on to the 1099 approach. And people are doing it, so I am here to tell you that 1099s are being done.
It's easier to do unpaid, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's probably less headache
Much easier.
to do.
Fewer minefields.
Which means
Yeah.
what's the compelling, like what compels somebody to say, I want to do that? Is it when you provide them a clear picture of what it is that they're going to learn and experience with you, and then that becomes much more compelling than necessarily their minimal paid internship?
Well, it's dual-fold. It's a wonderful question. Some of the programs, to get like a certificate from a community college, they're required to take an internship. So they won't graduate unless they have this internship course. The other element is it's experience, and I need it, and I know the difference it's going to make on my compensation and salary when I graduate. It's usually 40% higher in pay, people who've had internships. So those are the two schools of thoughts on why would an intern be motivated to take on an internship and then an unpaid internship. And we get a mix. I mean, I have a lot of students that just want practical experience. Like, I don't care about the pay. I live at home still. I just need some good experience. And a lot of the companies we work with, in my capacity as a faculty advisor, a lot of these internships have turned into full-time permanent jobs for those interns.
That's what I was
it
gonna
becomes-
ask. If you like their work
Yeah.
and you wanna keep them on, that's fine. You can make arrangements at the end of it.
Yeah, a lot of times, the relationship, becomes so great that there's a great bond, there's great chemistry, especially if it's a, small business. And, you just spend 6 months training them on all aspects of your business. I mean, why would you want to go and like hire somebody again and start all over again if you found, such a good fit and their future vocational programs works with what you have going on. So that's another advantage. Any other questions?
Since you work on the school side of the intern equation, would you say that there are any common pitfalls that employers should be aware of or avoid when hiring interns?
That's another loaded question. I would just say treat it just like you're hiring a normal employee.
Okay.
And do your background checks, do your social media checks. So I spent the whole course, the business communication course, on the importance of your social media brand and image. Nobody ever looks at that. I myself, every 2 weeks, I'm going on Google, typing in my name, and seeing what comes up. Okay? I know, it's scary, and it's a free game. Anybody can post stuff about you, anybody can write stuff about you.
At first that sounded paranoid to me, but then I immediately went to, well, actually that's really smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to my, I'll tell you a practical story. I went to my 10-year high school reunion, and one of my friends from way back then posted a picture of a group of us at the reunion party, and I just didn't like my image in that picture. Okay? It just didn't represent my brand, and maybe it was the angle, maybe it was the lighting.
This is not what I'm using.
It wasn't the circumstances. No, it wasn't even bad. I mean, it was just me merely just holding a drink, and I didn't like that.
I totally get that.
Yeah, and I had it removed. I contacted the web portal that I put up there, and I said, I don't approve of this, and they took it down. So, it's very subjective, and employers, talking to some employers, not all, that's the first thing they're going to. Once they get it with matching qualification, the first thing they're doing before they come in for an interview is Googling their name. Google, Twitter, Yelp, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these things, and just doing a glance, just 2-3 minute glance will tell you a lot about that person's background, friends.
And just from trial lawyers' experience, I have used stuff on social media to find stuff about jurors and about opposing counsel and opposing parties, and I found way incriminating stuff. It's just amazing. You really should check it.
Get rid of those
Lawyers for sure read your social media.
Yeah.
They're very welcome to
Yes, yeah.
So my advice would be do your due diligence just like you're hiring a permanent employee. Treat it like that. Any other questions? So you guys got the contact information? And you can always, have my email in case MiraCosta College is not going to be your school of choice for the intern. I can, put you in touch with the relationships I have with the other colleges in San Diego. So either of these emails, and Nina as well. San Diego's entire community college system is a whole district. They all belong to like one district. It's the San Diego Community College District.
Maybe this is a loaded question. I'm just curious your thoughts. An intern from community college system or from the state college system or whatever, what do you think some of the pros, cons are, or is it just kind of an equal playing field?
Again, it's very individually based. So I think at the university level, you're going to have a little bit more academic experience. They will have taken more courses in that discipline. So you might get a more knowledgeable intern. But I don't think it makes that much difference.
Okay.
Yeah, they're getting the coursework. They're really depending on you, for the development and nurturing of whatever project you give them. So
Yeah.
I do, in my experience, the community colleges are a little bit more hands-on with the student than the four-year schools, and you reiterate that too, that the student just approaches us. At that university level, the expectation is for them to go seek out, the internship on their own.
And
more or
ours
less.
is also a little interesting in that it's through the women's studies field, which we know is quite
Yeah.
large. And we're a nonprofit, and nonprofits are quite diverse. So several interns, both this semester and last, they were almost more taking the interns on as eliminatory. Like, I don't think I love that area of women's studies. Let me take that internship and confirm.
Right.
Or I do. But I mean, they were like,
Yeah.
before we enter the job, we don't know if we like this. Like the
Right.
one intern we have now, she's in an internship this summer at a women's birthing center. That's very different than a Girls on the Run after school program.
Yeah.
But she's trying to feel it out. So that, I think it depends too, what field you're, obviously, something that's more specific. If they're in a social media degree,
Right.
they know that that's what they want to do.
Yep.
But their degrees might be different no matter where they're going to school. And obviously, our businesses are all very different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My intern didn't want to work with battered women. That's what she told me. I didn't want to work with battered women, but I wanted to work in nonprofits.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's compelling. That's just so compelling.
that was not
for your
on the
project.
interview. No, that was not. That was the, hi, I'm meeting you for the first time.
Yeah. And I guess the other word of advice is, but don't be overcritical, because it is an internship. So,
Yeah, still it's just.
I think that's where there might be a little bit difference between, a regular employee and internship, is that this is a temporary position. You're really doing it as a teaching purpose.
Well, I have another question. Obviously, I think we're all on the same page that internships really do need to be guided
Yeah.
and educational. However, what are your thoughts on independent working? Whereas maybe we're giving our interns homework, or we're sending interns out into the field with instructions,
Yeah.
but they are working independently.
It's all part of the cumulative hours that they're assigned based on the number of units. So, yeah, if you have them do field research, for example, if it's non-paid, and most internships are 3 units. Okay, so if it's non-paid, they got to give you 180 hours. However you want to use that 180 hours, is fine.
That's over the 16?
Over the 16-week, period. Yeah.
So what does it depend on, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3?
So every unit,
On the hours?
they have to provide a minimum number of hours. So if it's 1 unit, if it's non-paid, that's the challenge is when you go from, I developed the internship, or the PowerPoint presentation on Microsoft, and then when you load it on to a Mac, spacing gets,
Does something else with it.
I apologize for that. But yeah, these numbers equate to the number of units. So the more units they take, the more hours they have to provide you.
And you said the three course units is the most common.
Most common during a regular term. During the summer, it's only a 1 unit, 8-week program because it's only a 2-month program. So during the summer, they can only do. Now, if you are interested, if you think you're ready to go, MiraCosta's program starts in like 2 weeks. So I would recommend that you go on there, register, and then contact Nina and tell her you just registered and you're looking for a summer intern. If not, then fall. But still put in your form early so that we get the data and we can start looking for students for you, because it's a process.
Can we put it in now for both?
Yeah, they'll just renew. You don't have to fill out the same form again. So if we can't get you like a summer intern in 2 weeks, then that form will just roll over. I do advise you to follow up with Nina just to say, hey, we didn't get somebody in the fall or in the summer, we are interested in the fall internship. So like at the beginning of August, contact her so that she can start the process of finding that intern for you. Because we have thousands of students, but not everyone wants to do an internship. People work, priorities are different.
Can we sign up on several different ones at the same time?
Yeah.
That's not
Absolutely.
considered bad form?
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, we have hundreds of students like waiting to do one, like we've had a need for some social media interns and right now, it's a challenge because the terms are coming to an end. So, it's finals. A lot of people travel for the summer or go to Europe, so summer is kind of a challenging month. During the regular terms, fall and spring, the likelihood of getting an intern is higher. Anything else? Well, I appreciate the opportunity to present to you. I look forward to maybe, work with you as a faculty advisor down the road, but I'm more than open to help you out if you have any other questions after the presentation, or if you need me to put you in contact with other schools in San Diego. All the other schools have a temporary position, just like the one I have at ChickfilA, and they're either ending in June or some of them have extended till September. But I know all the contacts and I could put you in touch with the internship developer/coordinator roles at other schools in San Diego. I even know the business internship developer at San Diego State if you're looking for a business intern.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.